Alright guys, welcome back. This time I finally did it. First place at the Challenger Cup tournament. Last week it was only second place. This time around with the Snake Eyes deck first place. We will now take a look at the deck list and then I will also show you the replays, which are kind of cool, from the finals and the, not semi-finals, but the quarterfinals. Quick little word to the semi-finals. Obviously, there's also always a bit of luck involved. In the semi-finals, I went against a Brand Despia player who had very bad internet connection problems, which is why he disconnected in both games, which meant I just got the win for free, basically. So I was very, very lucky there. Very sad for him to come this far and then lose it in the end. But yeah, that's just how it is sometimes with the game, I guess. Have to accept this. This is the list that I was running basically in the Swiss round portion, and also when I went without knowing what my opponent was playing in the playoffs. You then finally basically know what your opponent is playing, because you also have access to the replays in the room. So you are all in one duel room and doing your duels there. There's also the Twitch stream where you can watch a bit what your competitors are playing. But this is what I went in when going blind here. Pretty basic list. I've talked about this already. We have the Atlantis package in here, which came up quite often. Very, very strong. I definitely like Triple Tactic Talents at 3. Very great card to break a Snake Eyes board, which a lot of people were playing. Then I also changed, I think, one Infinite Impermanence for one Sinful Spoils of Betrayal, Zivara. Not the biggest fan of this card in general, but the situation in which this card is quite great is if you get Maxeed and you have access to a Diabellstar, then you could just summon a Diabellstar and then set the Sinful Spoils of Betrayal, Zivara, and you have basically Omni-Negate on the field. I think this is worth it for giving your opponent one card. It also has the advantage that you will send away your Diabellstar on your opponent's turn, which means Diabellstar can once again trigger, and you can set another spell for follow-up, the Wanted, or maybe the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eyes here. Other than that, nothing too fancy here. I have like one-offs like the Effect Veiler in here, the Duel Lockbird to get cross out, basically. I guess you could also put in triple Drone Lockbird, put the Kurikara, put the Effect Veiler out if you wanted that. You can, I think at the start version, this is not the 100% version I was running. I think I wasn't running a Populous and I was running +1 Infinite Impermanence, if I remember that correctly. So this might also be a version where I changed something. Monster Reborn for the Mirror Match, very, very nice. Though questionable whether you would want to play it just in the main deck if you don't know what you're playing against. But if you know you're playing the Mirror Match, then this is really great, giving you the ability to basically steal like a Snake Eye Ash or Diabellstar or whatever, Promethean Princess from your opponent's grave, which Promethean Princess is firstly getting an interruption away from your opponent, because he can then not use this Princess in grave, but secondly also gives you something to play because you can revive one of your fire monsters. So this is what I said. It's Snake Eyes Pure Synchro Standard, which I played standardly. Then I had this going second version, which I played, I think, in the finals when winning second. As you can see here, this I took against my final opponent, which was, so we will see a game against the top 8, which was who was playing Labyrinth, and then the finals was against another Snake Eyes player, which then I put in triple Drone Lockbird, triple Nibiru, as you can see here, and put some of the going first stuff out, as the Silvera, for example, which obviously if you're going second, you don't really want to have in here. I cut one Populous. You don't want to cut a lot of engine, especially if you have that much non-engine in here, sorry, as you can see right here. And we will also see if it's going second variant. He let me go first in the second game, which is when I bricked with this deck, which definitely could be the case. We have 3, 6, 9, we have 12. This is basically non-engine, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 is a lot of non-engine, a lot of stuff that you can draw and not enabling you to do any plays. So this is definitely on the upper end, maybe a bit too much of hand traps. But I mean, I knew that I was going second basically, which in the end I didn't. But this was the idea. And then I also copied this deck. So that is something that really makes sense if you're playing these tournaments. Go and copy your deck a few times so you can make some changes, change some things up. This is what I took to the going first variant. Obviously, Monster Reborn, because it was the mirror match, I put in Solemn Judgment and Strikes. I figured that Strikes were better, but honestly, I only had 2 Strikes, so I put in a Judgment as well, which is quite nice. Both of them are able to destroy, for example, an opponent's Snake Eye Ash, which is very important because you don't only want to negate the Snake Eye Ash, you also want to destroy the Snake Eye Ash, because then he can also not use the second effect or be used as a body on the field, right? I put in the third Popular once again, put out the Effect Vela and Nibiru. I cut out the Nibiru entirely. You could have argued like keeping one Nibiru in for the cross out. That would definitely make sense. I left one Infinite Impermanence for the cross out. Other than that, obviously, Triple Tactics, nice going first and going second. So this is what I took when going first, and this is what we will see in the third game where I take this. And then I also made a deck because I saw my opponent was one of the opponents that I was under the impression I would play against in the finals was switching to Infernoble second game. So I made an Infernoble. This is basically my going second list that I showed you here. And then I also had, this one's not here, but I also played against Labyrinth, which is why I just for this tournament basically crafted 3 Ghost Bells, which I put in. So I put out the Nibiru, I put out the Maxis, I also put out the Droll Knockbird, the Kurikara, which is when I put in Ghost Bells, because obviously they are way better against Labyrinth. What do you want with your Maxi against Labyrinth or Nibiru? Totally useless. And then when going second against the Labyrinth player, which you will see, I put in 3 Lightning Storms because we have this thing at 3. Also crafted another one for this. I think at this point I basically have all the staples at 3 because in these tournaments you just need them sometimes, and obviously put in a Duster as well. I think the only thing missing is the third Effect Veiler. So yeah. And if you don't know between the games and the playoffs, you can change your entire deck, or which is why it makes sense to scout out your opponents a bit, as everyone does in these tournaments, basically. But now let's hop into the replays, which were kind of nice here. I don't have all of them. This is the Labyrinth player and the top 8. Then obviously I already said it in the top 4. Sorry, in the semifinals, I got basically a free win, and then here the finals. So let's hop right in here, and we are going to go for the first one against the Labyrinth, where fortunately also I had the Ghost Bells in here, which I think they actually didn't really came up, but obviously you can Ghost Bell your opponent's Big Welcome Labyrinth. So we are starting here. I think he goes first, I go first. Okay, I go first. I think this is the first game, if I remember this correctly. Is this the first game though? This should be the first game. So we are starting here. I go Poplar. I'm getting Impermed, and obviously you see my hand. This is basically game over at this point. At least a turnover would be the better word. So me going first didn't really change anything. I go Linkuribo just to be able to firstly place this here, and then also have the Linkuribo to be tributed to make something 0 attack. So it basically is, maybe I survive even more. Fortunately, he also bricks, sets an Ice Dragon Prison and Dogmatica Punishment, which the punishment will definitely punish me in a moment. I am lucky drawing a Diabellstar, which gives me place, obviously, but you can see his hand. He has a lot of stuff in hand that he can use. I obviously go set Original Sinful, and I think he now... Yeah, I go Monster Reborn here to get back the Snake Eyes Popular to be able to also get the Temple to the field. Which this is something I thought about. Maybe it was wrong putting the Poplar here in the Spell and Trap Zone last turn, because obviously I drew a Diabellstar, which this worked then. I could send this away to the graveyard, but let's imagine I would not have drawn a Diabellstar. I had the Monster Reborn in the hand, so if my Poplar would have been in grave, I would have had a guaranteed play in Monster Reborning the Poplar. So I think putting this in the Spell and Trap Zone on the last turn was definitely a mistake. I got lucky here drawing the Diabellstar, being able to send this away, but there was a safe play in my hand, so definitely a mistake if you ask me. I grab the Temple. I think he draws me here. He does not. I set the Big Daddy Drake, then I go Nightmare Phoenix to force some of the back row, discarding this because I don't need it anymore. Then also I can go Snake Eye, put this back, and he goes Ice Dragon Prison, which I'm like, okay, he steals the Poplar that I want to set back. It's okay, because if you don't know how Ice Dragon Prison works, basically puts this here, and then they can remove two monsters with the same type, so Pyros, but these are Fiend and Cyber, so it doesn't really matter. I'm like, okay. I could have ghost belled this, by the way, but I was like, no, I keep the ghost bell for something more important. Destroy this, draw a cross out, and then I'm able to summon this, which is very, very nice. Not quite sure if he was aware of that. I put the Diabellstar in the spell and trap, then send it away. So just to have something for free here. Then obviously I got the Ash. So I'm basically in my whole play, but you can see the nip here, which at the moment I'm not quite sure whether I cross out this. I've put out the nip, so I don't, right? So I go Princess, reborn this thing, go Battle Phase for some reason that... Oh, he is... yeah, I firelocked him here with the Princess. This is why he can't use his Nibiru. I was just thinking about... This happens to me also in some... happened to me also in some games where I was like, okay, why can't I Nibiru my opponent? But obviously Princess firelocks you. Oh, but it only firelocks me, right? You cannot special summon, so why didn't he go Nibiru then? Very strange. What? Didn't I summon 5 times here? I did, right? Okay, this is really confusing. I'm not quite sure. What? Why didn't he use a Nibiru? I mean, sure, the Dogmatica punishment stops me here. I can't kill him, but... Or does he go Nibiru and Memphis? Okay, he just gives up the... Okay, I have not seen the Nibiru in his hand. I'm very surprised why he didn't use the Nibiru here. Okay. Then we go for the second game. He keeps his Labyrinth. He is going first. I'm going second now. Let's see. I draw a really nice hand, but in the end, isn't really enough because my engine part was a bit small, as you can see right here. The impermanence is quite nice. Lightning Storm, obviously, Ghost Spell, very nice effect, Veiler. Though, obviously, at this point, I need one of these to be a normal summon to send them away with original. He has a Max C, he goes first. Has this one, this. The hand is okay. He can obviously go Stovey discard, I don't know, I guess the Imperm. Or maybe the Welcome Labyrinth. Yeah, I guess the Welcome Labyrinth. And then go Big Welcome, so his hand is quite nice. I guess I would discard the Welcome. No, okay, he discards. I think the Imperm is very valuable, more valuable than is a Welcome, but you can argue about this. So obviously my first play is Lightning Storm. You draw an Ash, which is quite nice, and he goes Welcome. I go Ash. He goes Big Welcome. And obviously I go Ghost Bell. And at this point I'm like, oh, he must be so mad. Right? Because this is very annoying. Works out in the end for him, but at this point I would be very mad if I would be him. So he loses his Dogmatica punishment also to the Lightning Storm, which is quite nice because very interruptive card. I go Effect Veiler, Original Sinful Spoils, and I mean he goes Max C, right? If this would not have been a Max C, then yeah, I guess this would have been basically game. The Max C saved him here. I go obviously for a Snaker Ash, and here I think about what I want to do. Whether I want to play into the Nibiru and try to kill him, but I'm like, oh, not Nibiru, the Max C. But I'm like, okay, no, I think I'm going to add a Snaker Ash or follow up. And then he draws a Lady Lab, which is actually very bad because my card that I want to use to interrupt him is an Infinite Impermanence, which now I basically can't use because if I use the Infinite, let's say he draws an Ariana, right? So he goes Ariana, I go Infinite Impermanence, and then he can chain his Lady to set, I don't know, Big Welcome, which is very bad for me. He has a Big Welcome interruption in Grave also because of the Lady Labyrinth, so this is definitely a very good draw for him. He summons it, I can't attack, that's alright, I guess. He draws into a Daruma Karma Cannon, which, oh my god, this card. He attacks me, can't really do anything, but I have follow-up already, so that's okay, I guess. So he will keep the Daruma Karma Cannon for a long time. So he has, I think, for a long time here. But then I come to the conclusion that So I want to keep this original Sinful Spoils here, right? For maybe a Kurikara if he uses this, because I can just banish this, bring the Snaker Ash back to the deck, and then I could draw my Kurikara, which I think is still in here. So I want to keep this for later on. This is why I keep this in the graveyard. And then I'm like, okay, I can just keep my normal summon here. My original idea was to search an Oak here. Oak can resummon the Ash. For some reason, I search a Popular, I think. This is the whole reason, right? I wanted to use the 1-for-1 to get another Ash on the field to keep my normal summon, because it's basically the same whether I go Snaker Ash or go 1-for-1. I know that there is no Ash that can stop me with the 1-for-1, so I was like, okay, I can just do it. I think I add a Poplar here, which, as I already said, my original idea was to add an Oak to normal summon it. I'm not quite sure why I deviated from that. But the Poplar, because I still would have gotten into Poplar. Poplar gets me Temple, and I set the Big Daddy, which at the moment I feel quite comfortable. I get the bonus body because I'm figuring, okay, there's no Maxi, there's no Nip here, so I can just go bonus bodies. I send this away for an Oak. Oak Reborn, then go Oak set away to get the Snake Eye Flamberge on the field. And he's very so I'm like establishing more bodies here. As you can see, I have a lot of bodies, and now I'm thinking about, okay, how can I push this situation forward, right? Because now I have to do something, right? I have to go into an access code talker, or I don't know, maybe into my Promethean, and I'm like, okay, what's the next play here? I have to force this here. So I look at his graveyard and I see a Stovey like a dark, right? So I'm deciding on making a dark, so I can maybe climb up even further, stealing his Stovey. To be honest, at this moment, I wasn't really aware of his big welcome labyrinth. I just as this moment, as he activated this, I was aware. I'm like, oh shit, he has a big welcome, which he bounces my Drake back. It's all right. He gets his welcome back. He gets Stovey back, and then he also, I think, will in a moment flip my. Just the Rumakam. I go into Unicorn here to force. As you can see, now I'm wasting a lot of materials to force something, and now he goes Karma Cannonet. Obviously, now I'm in a bad position. I go and make the Link Horibo just because so he can chain, right? Because with the lady, you can chain to a trap and set another trap, but you have to directly chain it to the trap, which is why I activated the Link Horibo, so now he could not set another one, which is quite nice for me, actually. He flips, both of them go to the graveyard. Unfortunately, this goes back to the graveyard, and I can go for a follow-up play, realizing that I don't have the Kurikara in deck, so I just get a Jet Synchron, because remember, all my Snake Eye Ashes are already here, right? 3 of them were engraved, so there was no good target to get. And at this point, I realized, okay, this is probably over. I think I just tribute this, and then I think he kills me here. Yeah, he also gets an Ariana, which I can now negate, but obviously he can now set. And I think we are just... Isn't this just... How is he going for game exactly? Or isn't he at this point? But I mean, obviously this is just game, right? I think I draw a card just to see what I get here. TTT, and that gets me nowhere. And I'm like, oh, okay, I started really great, and let's be honest, the Maxi basically killed me. Without the Maxi, I would have established a very nice board, and I think he would not have been able to break it. And here, at this last game, we went quite far into the time, so we nearly hit the time limit, which this was quite a stressful game, but it was a really nice best of 3, I have to say, all in all. So I go first here. My hand is... Okay, here's a look at his hand. This is so funny because I will get hit with all of these hand traps throughout the turn. Though I have 2 Cold Bias to negate 2 of them. So as you can already see, these hands already tell you that we will end up in a low resource situation, right? Which normally I really like. I also liked in this game. So I pitch this one because I can also, so you can freely pitch this one if you want, because the Snake Eye Field spell can also set this from the graveyard to your spell and trap. So I was like, okay, there's no, I can just set this because the Diabellstar obviously gets me the Sinful Spoils, so the Populos will then get me the Temple, right? So I will get the Temple, and this will be in the spell and trap zone then. So I can freely send this. So I send the Diabellstar away. He goes Maxi, which obviously I called by. At this point, and I checked his red thingy here, right? So the thing that basically tells me he has more stuff to activate. So I always checked for this. I go Snake Eye Ash, Popular. That's I go 1 Popular. He goes 2 Droll, which I also called by. I'm like, okay. I was thinking about this, right? So I was thinking the exact thing I thought about was. What if he has an Ash or maybe an Effect Veiler? Do I want to call by a Troll and Lockbird or a potential Ash or Effect Veiler? And then I thought, okay, if he would have had an Ash, he would have used it here. So I thought, okay, there's no Ash. There might be an Effect Veiler. But I'm like, okay, I would rather imperm a Droll, called by a Troll and Lockbird than an Effect Veiler. And I was quite sure that there was no Ash, right? So this was the thinking process behind this. So I get this out of the grave. Here's another one. And then I get my Poplar, which now we are at summon number 3. And now I'm just like, okay, I can't really... He goes for Effect Veiler here. I'm like, okay. And this would end me up on an Ambler Whale here. So I'm like, okay, obviously I can't play around Nips, so I just go Linkuriboh, make an extra body, send these away, Oak. So this would end me up on, I think, Ambler Whale, the Dragon, and IP in the zone here, but he will wait until I have used this. Because I go, okay, he goes Nip here now. He could have also waited, I think. He could have also waited because the next thing I would have done is send this away to Reborn, and then he could have still used the Nibiru, I guess. But okay, it's what it is, right? So Nibiru, I'm like, oh, okay, low resource situation. But the good thing is that you always have to check with Snake Eyes, right? If you have this thing in your grave, the original Sympho Spoils, you can only activate one each turn, but next turn I can activate this again, and this can put one of my Snake Eye or Diabellstar cards back into the deck and then add me a level 1 fire to the hand. So this can always add me a Snake Eye Ash, which basically starts my entire combo. So I know that I have safe follow-up in my graveyard. So I'm like, okay, this can work. He draws a Karma Cannon, right? So super annoying stuff. So he sets the Karma Cannon, passes over. I draw an Imperm, not really important. I have this thing here, this saves me. I banish this, bring the Oak back and draw an Ash, right? So now I have plays. So he goes Drone and Lock, and I'm like, okay, this is okay, because I can send the Dragon away, right? I can't search, but I can send the Dragon away, and I still have level 1 bodies in the graveyard. So he goes Karma Cannon directly here, right? Makes sense, because otherwise I send the Dragon away, and then I get more bodies. And I'm like, oh, okay, Karma Cannon. Obviously, I will lose this, and now I don't have follow-up, right? Because my Sympho Spoil is banished. There's not another one. So he goes, and now I need to draw a good, like, top deck. And I think I draw Populous, if I'm correct. Yeah. So this is obviously great. So I go Populous here. He has Ice Dragon Prison. I draw this. This can send this away. So I get my bodies back, which now is basically game. I think he interrupts me with the Ice Dragon Prison on the Flame Birch Dragon, which is quite nice. But I still, oh yeah, I think I only end up on an Ambler Whale, right? I'm super hyped. I'm like, oh, look at all the bodies I have. I can't really lose this game. Oh, look at my advantage, which I didn't, right? So I go for the Linkuriboh. Why do I go for the Linkuriboh? Just to send, I go for the Linkuriboh to set the Poplar here, so I can have a free send away with the Ash and the Oak. Obviously, I want to go into Flame Birch now, so I go Oak, send this away to keep bodies on the field, go for the Flame Birch, and now he goes for the Ice Dragon Prison. And somehow I'm like, okay, I can still OTK him with the Zialantis combo here. I actually can't. So he gets both of them away, which then I realized this is not... The situation could be quite bad, because getting these banished here is very impactful. So I have to go Ambler Whale, which unfortunately my Ambler Whale has not even enough attack to battle over the Nibiru and be alive, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, this doesn't look that great. But I mean, I have the Promethean Princess engraved, which I figured was quite nice. So I attack over this. Then I can activate my Ambler Whale to summon something out of the grave. And this is where I think, right? So I could have also left the Promethean Princess in the grave to destroy something, but I decide to summon the princess out to have her for follow-up, right? Because here are two decision points, right? I could either have kept the princess in grave, but the thing is, if he would have like drawn Ariana normal summon, I could have negated the Ariana, right? But because of the normal summon Ariana, I would not have been able to use the princess to summon her onto the field. So I was like, okay, I would rather have the princess on the field, so that if he doesn't draw anything great, I have her on the field for next turn, and I can just revive, for example, the Swarm Ship, which has a lot of attack. So this was my thought process, because I was like, okay, there's basically no way that he will be able to special summon next turn, because how would he do this, right? He's Labyrinth, right? So he just draws the Ariana, he can search something, I can imperm that, but there is basically no way that he can use to special summon. So I was like, okay, maybe a Bestial, right? The Bestial would be the only possibility. I was like, okay, this on the field is better. So I pass over. I think, okay, I'm fine. I have the impermanence for an Ariana. He draws a Coup Clock, and obviously this is game. I can revive and just kill him. So this was the top 4 games. So then we are playing against the other Snake Eye guy. Thinking about this, I'm not quite sure how these games went. Oh, I only know that the third game, I had the most insane hand ever. He also had a good hand, but wasn't able to play through. So let's just look at this. I'm not starting, right? He's starting. I lost every coin toss in this. Okay, I guess I didn't lose the coin toss against the Labyrinth guy, but I basically lost the coin toss because he interrupted me directly. So he goes first. He has a Jet Synchron, an Oak, this. So his hand is... He ends up just placing the Jet Synchron face down and passing over. Is this the correct play? It is, right? This is a dead hand. Unfortunate for him. I have a nice going second hand and also a play going first, so he just places the Jet Synchron here. This is rough, right? This is very, very rough. And this is something I want to say here. Winning a tournament, whether it is in Master Duel or in the TCG, it's always about luck. Yeah, you always win tournaments, obviously because you are skilled, obviously because you know how to play your deck. This is a big part of it. You have to make the right decisions, obviously, but there's also a luck factor in which your opponent gets unlucky, but you get lucky. Your opponent, in this case, has disconnects, which obviously can't happen in a TCG tournament. I go Wanted, he goes Maxi. I obviously can go Ash Blossom here, and now he only has an Ash Blossom, which already is quite bad for him, right? Though, thinking about this, I will get the Diabellstar, I will get the Sinful Spoils, and this one he can just Ash, and then, as you can see, I have nothing. So I will end up with nothing here. Because he has the Ash, the perfect answer for this, basically. I am discarding the Sinful Spoils, because this means... Oh, that's right, because... he can't use the Ash. Ah yeah, okay. So actually, now that I see the Ash, I was thinking about this for a moment, whether I should discard the Nibiru or maybe the Trap. If you don't know that, the Trap has the bonus effect, so it's the negate, right? But when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your Diabellstar monster effect or your Sinful Spoils, Spells and Trap card or effect activation, you can banish this card from your graveyard and negate that opponent's effect. You can only use one of these per turn, but now that I have this in graveyard, that means if he would react with anything to my original Sinful Spoils, which obviously he will, or he wants to, I think he doesn't because he's aware of the fact that he can't. So it was absolutely correct. I think this was also in the end my thought process. I will just discard the Trap so that if he has an Ash, and wants to Ash this, he can't, right? Because I can negate the Ash. This is what the card says. So I placed this, sent this, and I think he doesn't Ash. Yeah, he's aware of the fact that it doesn't work. And now I remember, he will Ash me at some point when I use my Snake Eye Ash or Oak, which was also very, very effective. But I was wondering, why hasn't he Ashed my original Sinful Spoils? But obviously this is the reason why. And obviously this is also why I pitched the Trap. Also, I also pitched the Trap, obviously, because in this situation, I will never end up with a Diabellstar on the field. So the Trap is basically useless. So I go Poplar, I go Field Spell, Flame Birch, and I'm like, okay, this game is over. I can just kill him here. But he has this Ash that will interrupt me very heavily in a moment. So I go Snake Eye Ash, send it this way. I think he Ashes here. Yeah, you can definitely just Ash this. This is very impactful. I have paid 2 bodies for nothing now. This is totally disruptive. And obviously I can just only draw a card now, maybe get something here. I think I draw Jet Synchron. No, okay. Another Diabellstar, which I can't summon. The only good thing is that I can normal summon the Ash. I still have my Ninguribo, normal summon the Ash. I can go into Hita, and obviously there is an Ash in the grave now. So if you play the Mirror Match, always check your opponent's grave for a fire monster that you can Hita away. So I can go Hita into Princess. Princess revives something. I can end up on an Amblo Whale, which is quite nice, right? So I go this, and now I battle first because if I go Amblo Whale, I can only attack once, so I can now make a bit of damage. I go main phase, go into the Amblo Whale here, which now I have the Princess pop the Amblo Whale in the graveyard. That's at least something, right? He draws, and he gets a 1/1, which, I mean, this is already nice for him. He has the Oak that he can now reborn the Jet Synchron with, and he has a 1/1 that he can theoretically pitch this one here if the Oak is also engraved. And then this hand is really nice now. Though I have a draw Lockbird and a Nibiru. Let's see. The Nibiru... Wait, is this the game? The Nibiru saves me here. So he goes Oak, revives this, and I react with my Temple, which then I was thinking about this. Should I have reacted with the Temple? Because you can also because summoning this on the field right now doesn't really get me anywhere. You could also wait with the Temple until he has set something here, and then you can maybe steal something that he has set, which I guess is an interruption, while this is basically nothing. This is only getting me this on the field so I can get bodies back. That helped me survive. So he summons this one. I decide to pop the wrong one, actually. So I decide to pop the Jet Synchron here. For some reason, I was under the impression I could only pop the special summon monster. Obviously, you can also pop this one. I should have popped this one because this one is still able to send something away. Totally stupid mistake. So I get my bodies back here, get my follow-up. This is quite nice. Go Ash, go Populous. And I decide to resummon something with the Ash in defense position because I'm like, okay, I just have to survive this turn. If I survive this turn, it's game, and I also have a Nip here, which from this point on, the whole time I'm like, okay, I can nip him, I can nip him, I will nip him, I will nip him, and then only in the end realize that I have a princess on the field that firelocks me, so I can't use the nip. And this is where I was like, okay, I will lose this game. So he sends this away, gets an Ashe to the field. This can also now activate to get the bodies back, and I'm like, okay, I'm in big trouble here because I have no further interruptions but the nip. At this point, I still think I can nip here. Mind me, I was like, yeah, I can nip. There's no problem. I won't lose here. So he goes this body. He goes this body. And for all of you, I can draw a Lockbird, but it's not really that impactful here. He will not get the temple, but that's everything. He has a lot of bodies already. Doesn't really matter. So at this point, I'm like, okay, for all of you not aware, having 5 bodies here, this is definitely enough to kill me with the Zealantis combo. This is enough, and I can't stop this. So I'm like, okay, if he goes Zealantis, I'm dead. Because the thing is that he could have also kept the Promethean Princess on the field until the battle phase. If you're not aware, the Zealantis allows you basically in the battle phase to destroy quick effect during the battle phase. You can destroy cards on the field up to the number of co-link monsters on the field, and you will end up with the Zealantis next to a Promethean Princess. So they are co-linked. So in the battle phase with the Zealantis, you can destroy 2 cards. And if he would have done this perfectly, he would have left the Promethean Princess on the field, knowing quite well that there could be a Nibiru that I can't play because of a princess. And then in battle phase pops my princess, and then I obviously can't Nibiru because we are in battle phase, right? So I'm like, okay, he goes the Atlantis combo and I am dead. I was like, please go for an Access Code Talker. He goes for a Dark, which this makes sense. He can set another thing. He can steal my Diabellstar. This is still game. These are still enough bodies to just kill me here. No matter what I do, right? So he goes Nightmare Phoenix, and I'm like, okay, I will get killed here because Nightmare Phoenix is also part of the extended Zealantis kill combo. He goes Nightmare Phoenix, and now he goes into a Unicorn, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? And because now, body-wise, it's not enough. And he can't even, like, he doesn't even have a hand card, which he can use to spin, right? He can't draw a card, he's co-linked, can't draw a card. And I'm like, okay, now he can't kill me with the Zealantis combo because now there are not enough bodies. He can still use this one, mind me. So he goes into Access Code, and I'm like, okay, I am safe here because obviously, in order to kill me, he has to, at some point before the battle phase, get rid of my Promethean Princess, and then I can Nibiru. So at the moment I see this Access Code Talker, I'm like, okay, I've got this. Because he has no follow-up, and I have a lot of follow-up, right? He kills the Promethean, goes into Hita, and at this point I just drop the Nibiru. And this is just game. Yeah. He realized this game, and then we go into the second match, which I take I showed you this deck list, the going second deck list. We can also, by the way, in the end, I will also go over the deck list and name every card if you want to copy the basic deck list, that is. In this match, he let me go first, actually. I picked my going second deck. He was like, okay, you go first, because he can decide. Obviously, he lost, so he can decide whether I should go first or second. I'm like, okay, I'm going first with my going second deck. But I still think it's fine. Unfortunately, I get a total brick hand, which this would have been great going second. So I set an Imperm Pass. He has quite a nice hand. He has a lot of things that he can do. Goes Diabellstar, which I think you should start with the Populous Normal Summon, but that's just my opinion. He sets this. I let this go because I have the Ashe for this. I Ashe this. And then I obviously still have the Infinite Impermanence for the Poplar, right? The only thing is that he also has 3 hand traps for next turn, which is too much for my dead hand. I'm not quite sure what I think I draw something that I can play, if I remember this correctly. He goes Battle, goes Link Horibo, makes sense. Get this in the spell and trap zone, have this on the field. Though, if you have a Monster Reborn, as I already said, keep in mind, I guess don't do this. If you have a Monster Reborn, just keep in that wave. I go 1 for 1, which, yes, I can play. Pitch this away, he Ashes this. Now I have Triple Tactics Life, which I think, okay, nice, I can now draw 2 cards. Which I go for. Now I don't quite remember how this game ends up, honestly. I think I play a bit into the Maxi, but not much. I draw 2, which I can play because I can go Snake Eye Oak into Original Sympho Spoils, which now he goes Maxi, right? And here's what I'm thinking. Now I'm thinking about the following fact. I have a draw in Lockbird, which means if he draws a card from Maxi, I can draw him, but I will also draw me. And I figure I do the following. I obviously have to summon here, so I summon a Snake Eye Ashe. And now I decide to search the Poplar. Because obviously I don't have a normal summon left, so the Poplar is the only logical thing. I get Poplar, Now I summon the Poplar, and then I also go Droll and Lockbird here. So I get 1 Poplar, 2 Droll and Lockbird, which is a bit unfortunate because obviously now I can't search with my Poplar. But I figured, okay, with 2 bodies on the field, I can still do something. I can't go for the kill combo, but I can still set up quite a playable board. So this was my plan here, right? I go for the Linkuriboh because now we are under draw, right? He can't draw any more cards. So I set this here. Unfortunately, there's still the infinite impermanence. I think this wrecks me in a moment. But I mean, what can I do? I just have to try, right? So I get the dragon, get bodies back, which is so nice. I can also use the oak here. And now that I see it, I'm not quite sure how I lose this, but we will see this in a moment. I go dark, so I can also steal the Diabellstar. Now it's game. Now, if this gets through, it's game. So I'm really wondering. I think he imperms me on the Zialantis or something, or on the princess. So I use this. I made a big mistake here. Okay. So here's what happened, right? So before doing this is kill combo. Before doing this, I wanted to use this to set this into my spell and trap zone, the one from the grave. Unfortunately, I clicked on this one. Body-wise, this is still enough. It's still enough to kill him. So I revive the other Drake. And remember, I still would have another body on the field here. I go into the Ambloware, which now you go into Zialantis. Go into Zialantis. Activate Zialantis, and here he imperms me. Which he imperms me here. And now I quickly want to think about whether it would be game if I would have kept the right thing on the field. So now we are at this point, right? I go battle phase, obviously can't activate the Atlantis because the battle phase effect that is obviously negated. So I have to battle this. He sets this to 0 attack. And then I have 2/5 and 3000. So I have 5/5. If I would not have set this one in the spell and trap zone, I would have had this one on the field and another body on the field that I would have revived with my princess. I think this would have been game because I would have revived the other dragon, right? Oh, okay. Because I sent the dragon away. No, wait, we did. The dragon would have still be on the field. I would have set the other dragon in the spell and trap zone. Okay. I could have had game if I would have not set the dragon here and would have not set the other dragon in the spell and trap zone. But I guess with the princess, I then would have revived something like the oak, I guess, and then it would still not have been game. So he goes, obviously, Linkuriboh, sets this to 0. So even without my mistake, this would probably not have been game, but this could have been game if I just had not set this here, not set the other one here. There was a situation in which I could have had both of these on the field, and then it would have been game. This could have been game, right? I really misclicked here, and then, yeah. So he has an Ash, which I can't really interrupt. I go summon his Poplar out, which I should have done in the draw phase. I didn't have the toggle thing on. I go Poplar, he goes Poplar. I go Princess on the Poplar and pop the Ash because obviously he can still use the Ash to send something away, which I don't want to happen here. I go Princess, pop the Ash so he can use the Ash effect. He goes Linkuriboh Tribute, which makes sense because he gets a bonus body on the field, but still can't use the Ash, so it was still worth it, I think. So I get the Princess out, which at this point I don't have any more interruptions. So if he kills me, so if he can kill me, he can kill me with the Zialantis combo, right? And looking at his hand, obviously he can. I can still get bodies on the field, and now I have 6 bodies on the field, which is actually a lot. He goes this one, sets this one, makes sense, goes for a Nightmare Phoenix here, co-links so he can draw a card. He discards the Jet Synchron, destroys this one. I'm not sure why, because it's not that important. He can set the Poplar, obviously. And he still has the Kurikara, which will come up in a moment. He can discard the Oak, resummon the Jet Synchron, gets this away for Princess. Princess can now resummon the, I think, Oak. Oak can resummon something from the graveyard. Then Oak can send away this guy here for his dragon and get 2 bodies from the dragon to the field. So there go the bodies, which are also pushed, right? He goes for a Hita, which he still has zones, right? Gets my Amblowale, now does Kurikara, I think. He sets this in the spell trap. He goes Kurikara, which I only have used my Poplar here. And unfortunately, this is game. It's close, actually. Well, it wasn't that close, I think. I reset this here. I can quickly forward a bit. And then this one. Yeah, this wasn't close. He still has the Was this? This was really close, right? Because I had 3-3 left. Nah, anyways. I lose this. This is what can happen in the mirror. The mirror can swing around quite drastically. And then the last one was a bit anticlimactic. I changed to the Snake Eye going first version, which I showed you with the solemn judgments and solemn strikes. But I got a really good hand. This hand is all you can ask for, basically. We can take a look at this. Wow, his hand is really rough. It's the first time I see his hand. In the end, his hand ends up being quite good because he nearly breaks my board. At least as far as he can, I guess. He has no interruptions. He has wanted 1-for-1 a Kurikara, which Kurikara is quite nice, to be honest. But as you can see, I have everything here. Snake Eye Ash together with a Diabellstar all wanted. The only thing that my hand is missing, this is a double, right? This is unnecessary. So a judgment or something would have been nice, though I would have had to discard something. So it doesn't really make a difference. This is basically the free discard I need for the Diabellstar. So in the end, I think this is kind of perfect. Because if you have Ash and Diabellstar Black, which you can go full combo, which I can show you in a moment here. So I start with the Ash, so I have this as follow-up. You don't, in this case, if you have the Ash here and then want it in the hand, I talked about this with a friend yesterday, you don't need to go want it in the draw phase, because you can also, because if you go want it in the draw phase, you show him that you have follow-up, right? So you just go Snake Eye Ash in the main phase. If he, I add my Popular, right? So if he now goes Duel and Lockbird, I can still chain the wanted because it's a quick play spell and can still get my Diabellstar to the hand. So it doesn't make a difference, because normally you would play the wanted to play around Droll, which makes sense. But if you have a startup play like a Poplar or an Ash that you want to go for, then you don't need to do it this way, because you only reveal to your opponent. He sees my Snake Eye Ash, and if I would have used wanted in the draw phase, I have revealed an additional information to my opponent saying, look at me, I have follow-up with Diabellstar. So this gives him additional information to decide whether you want to act on the Snake Eye Ash, which in most cases you want to, right? But I go Snake Eye Ash, search the Popular. Popular gets me the Temple, obviously, because this can get me the original Sinful Spoils. I go Temple first, set the Flambere Dragon. Then I go wanted to get another Diabellstar, to discard a Diabellstar. Just won't have to wanted in the grave, so I can draw another a bonus card here. I just go get me this thing here onto the field. I discard Diabellstar for Diabellstar. Sinful Spoils. Sinful Spoils send away Linkuriboh for the Jet Synchron. Now I go Borrowed Savage Dragon, which this is the last moment at which he can nip if he has one. He has none. So I go Snake Eye Ash, send away Linkuriboh. This still has the negate, only the attack boost is lost with this. I revive. Now I send away Big Daddy for Big Daddy. And Big Daddy revives me to bodies here. Next thing is a Jet Synchron. The funny thing is, maybe you know this, let me know in the comments, there is probably an even better line, because there is a Sprite Elf in the extra deck, but this is the line I know, so I wasn't like experimenting here. So I discard something to get Jet Synchron back. Now we go Promethean Princess. With Sprite Elf there's probably a better line, but I wasn't really ready to experiment here, because this line is already quite strong. You set this, the Formula Synchron, then you go Emlo Whale, and then on next turn you can go Formula Synchron, make a Baron de Fleur. So I pass over to him, we are in draw phase, I activate my Dingens to summon this out, he chains Wanted, which he draw a Flamebird Dragon, which is quite bad, but I think will work out for him in a moment, if I remember this correctly. I might not. So I go summon this out, and then I also drop the Maxi, I think. Yup, he has nothing, so he has to let this go through. My thought process was, okay, in the end, the Duel and Lockbird is better, and obviously Duel and Lockbird and MXC, they don't work together well, but here was my thought process. My thought process was, okay, I might be able to draw 1 or 2 cards, especially now that he has searched the Diabellstar. I might be able to draw 1 or 2 cards with the MXC, and then I can still use the Duel and Lockbird, and if I can exchange my MXC for like 1 or 2 free draws, then it's already worth throwing the thing. He obviously goes for the Diastar now, activate the Diastar's effect, which I use the Promethean Princess, because I'm like, okay, this is one of my less useful interruptions, so I can just use this on this, because he sets the original Sinful Spoils. Obviously he wants to send away Diabellstar, which I already have an Ash for this, right? I can already Ash this, but I'm like, okay, I will destroy this one, then he has to use a normal summon to send this away. So I just want to interrupt him as much as I can. I also go Formula Synchron here. Which, quick little thing here, if you're not aware, I targeted the Snake Eye Flamberge and this one here, and then you can chain this, and I will now synchro away the Flamberge, And the thing with the princess is, princess has to only destroy one of the bodies its targets for it to be special summoned. Because this one will not be on the field when the princess wants to destroy, but it's okay because the Diabell Star is still on the field. If he would now get the Diabell Star off the field, then I would not get my Promethean princess. It only has to destroy one of the cards you target. So I go Baron de Fleur, then the princess comes, destroys only this one, but still summons. Then obviously I get all my body follow-up here. He sets original. Now I get my body follow-up from Flame Birch. Oak. Ash. Oak get me this back to the hand. Ash get me, I think, another Ash to the hand, which is just for starters. I think in this build there is no Kurikara. Because it's going first, right? Why would I need a Kurikara? So I have everything, right? He goes this one. I negate this one. I think this was the biggest negate. And obviously, it's just game, right? The good thing is that he can now... How was this? Oh, he tributes the Kurikara, yeah, which enables him to battle over one of my interruptions, which is quite nice. He battles over the Baron. Now can do this here, obviously, but I mean, I have the negate. So, yeah. I think there's something more that he can do here, which I draw? Or am I stupid? There's basically nothing here. This is just game. Ah, you can draw a card, right? That's right. He has a normal summon left, right? So I'm like, maybe he has a snake. He has a Poplar, actually. Draws a Poplar, goes for Poplar. But I mean, yeah, this is just game. And so I win my first Challenger Cup after going second place like multiple times now and ending in the top cut a lot. I won the first one, so now I hope you liked it. Now I will show you, we go over every card, card by card from the deck list here, which I used in the beginning. So we have one Effect Veiler, one Droll Lockbird, one Jet Simcon, one Kurikara Divine Karna, 3 Snaker Ash, 1 Snake Eye Oak, 3 Snake Eye Poplar, which remember, I think this was -1 Poplar and +1 Infinite Impermanence, triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom, triple Diabell Star the Black Witch, 2 Snake Eyes from Birch Dragon, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 for 1, 3 triple Tactics Talents, 2 Original Sinful Spoiled Snake Eye, 1 Divine Temple of the Snake Eye, 2 Caught by, 1 Crossout, triple Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils, 2 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Sinful Spoils of Ritual Silvera, 1 Formulous Inquon, 1 Borderless Savage Dragon, 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 Linkuribu, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Heater, 1 IP Masquerina, 1 D-Arc, 1 Sprite Elf, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Promethean Princess, 1 Amphibious Swarm Ship, Ambro Whale, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, 1 Axis Kotalker, and 1 World Dragon Zealantis. The World Dragon Zealantis combo, the kill combo, is very, 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 very nice. It will even get stronger when you get the new Salamangreat support with the Raging Phoenix, so definitely play this, definitely invest in this, it's so amazing. That's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether you like this kind of video. I'm super hyped. This was the goal all the time. I have been topping in these tournaments very regularly for a while now, and it was time to finally win one, even though obviously I got some help from the luck gods, I guess. The disconnect from my opponent in the semifinals was obviously quite great for me. He also won the coin flip and he played Rendered Despair, which is a matchup I think this is the matchup I feel least comfortable against with the deck. So I don't know if in the end I would have won this tournament if he would have not DC'd, but I guess it's just what it is. It's tough for him, but that's how it is sometimes. You have to take what you get, what you can get basically. So yeah, thanks for being here. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell. We will see each other in the next one.